the big stuff you really need to know as far as experimental design. You just need to know, first of all, that science does not follow a single method. There's not a single point A to point B way that science works. Science is a process. It is a continual process. And it can really start anywhere it wants to. And ideally, it doesn't finish, okay, because science makes more science. Once you answer one question, usually it gets you wanting to ask more or wanting to understand something more. Now, within all of the science process, there are certain things that we talk about. There are things like, coming up with a hypothesis, which is not an educated guess. Well, okay. I hate that. It's like it's so much language. Okay. Over my head. Instead, what a hypothesis is, a hypothesis is a testable statement that says, if I do a thing, then another thing should happen. Okay. This is better than just an educated guess, because this right here is actually testable. And within this statement, there's two important pieces that you need to know about, because in a well-written hypothesis, it's going to include this first blank right here is going to be the independent variable. So if I independent variable something, then this other blank down here, then the dependent variable should happen. So I'm going to go on to the next slide. The independent variable, the way I remember that is this right here, okay? It is what I change. Okay? It's also sometimes called the manipulated variable. Whereas the dependent variable, okay, it depends on what just happened with the independent variable. Okay? This is also sometimes called the responding variable. This is going to be what I observe or measure. So if I say, if I drink 5 Monsters before I go to bed, then I will get less than 1 hour of sleep. Okay? So the Monsters, okay? I'm trying to do the scary monster animal down there. Grr. Monster Energy. And there it is. Plus it's green, because it's green and awesome and scary. Okay, so if I drink 5 Monster Energies, that's my independent variable, okay, times 5. Then what I expect to see happen is going to be me not getting any sleep, okay? Or I'm going to say less than 1 hour. Okay, see how the one on the left here, this is what I am manipulating, it is what I am changing, okay? could change the number of monsters if I wanted to. I could do like, 4 monsters, or 1 monster, or 10 monsters, and if I survived, then I could see what happened. I could do 0 monsters. If I did 0 monsters, let's talk about that. If I did 0, then that would be my control group. Because maybe I don't sleep that much anyway, whether I have monster energy or not. Maybe my control group would be just saying how much I would sleep without all of this caffeine and sugar and stuff. So I'd have something to test against. This over here, though, the amount of sleep is what I am measuring. It's what I'm observing. It's responding to what I change. That's experimental design. In a good experiment, you're really only testing one of these independent variables at a time. Okay? If you throw more than one variable into an experiment, you don't know which variable caused the effect that you saw. So you only want to make one thing different. Test one variable at a time. Now, as far as how you graph these, because typically, you're going to take your data and you're going to graph them on a nice, X, Y graph. You're going to put your data points up there. Knowing which one goes where always tends to throw people off. Let's see here, okay. So my independent variable, what color did I make my okay. My independent variable, which one of them goes on my y-axis and which one of them goes on my x-axis. Okay? The way you remember that, remember the goofy saying that I told you to remember 2 words? Okay, there it is again. Goofy saying you remember, dry mix. Okay? And this will tell you what you need to do. You pretend it, it's on the y-axis. Okay? There's the I for independent, goes on the x-axis. So the thing that I change goes down here, and that I'm measuring goes up here. Okay? So if you look at a graph, you can look and see what is on the x-axis and what's on the y-axis, and that should tell you what your independent variable and what your dependent variable is, if you remember this right here. Okay? Does anybody have any questions? Stop this video real quick.